Hello, everyone. I'm here with the lovely Erica Merriweather, my assistant. I'm Lady O, and if you follow us on our channel, you will know that I am the co-host with my husband, Riz Mirza, psychic medium. I'm an intuitive empath, and we put on a Psychic Sunday live show every Sunday night, and it's really super fun, and people live chat with us, and we give messages, and we dress up for Halloween, and we do all kinds of crazy stuff. Yes. And also during the week, we also like to do different things. Like we're going to start, like we did this before, we're going to start it up again, where we're doing these psychic competitions or like psychic, not competitions in the sense, because we did have some where people actually came onto the show. But in this case, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be testing our audience with psychic questions. That's what we're going to be doing. Finally got it out. Okay.
Good job.
And so when you're playing along, you actually are going to play along with us, and we're going to kind of walk you through it. It's going to be really fun. We're going to start that soon. But this lovely new podcast series is a special near and dear baby to me, because I have been sitting on this for a while, like a mother goose on an egg, waiting to finally do it. And I finally get to do it. I am launching this podcast today. You are going to be my co-host. Our oldest daughter, not our oldest daughter.
Our oldest daughter.
My oldest daughter.
You did such a great job.
I swear today I could actually get this out. Her name is Alex, and she is a wonderful, beautiful soul, and she's going to be here, and she's going to be taking turns as co-host. What we're going to be talking about and discussing is something near and dear to us that we have been wanting to talk about. It's all things related to womanhood. It is everything that you can possibly imagine under the sun of what it's like being a woman, female, living on this planet, trying to do the lady thing.
Welcome to Lady Town, as I like to call it.
And the thing is, you guys, if you know who we are, we like to have a good time and laugh. Yeah. So yes, we're going to be covering a lot of serious topics, trust me, but we're going to have a lot of fun doing it.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you, basically, I'm going to be asking them a lot of questions. So you were born in 83.
Yes.
So you are on the cusp of becoming a millennial.
No, I'm what's called, I have a term. I don't like this term, but it's called elder millennial. I hate that it's called elder.
Let's rephrase that.
So sick.
Okay, so
I'm an experienced millennial.
What about senior millennial?
That's worse.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm going to call it first wave millennial.
There you go. First wave millennial. Okay, so you're first wave millennial, and then Alex is an
second wave.
Second wave. She's like in it deep
millennial.
Yeah. She was born in
93, because we're
93, 10 years apart. That's right. We're all 10 years apart.
Yeah.
So
I was talking about that.
I'm 51, which I have no idea how that happened. I'm Gen X. And so
I'm 41. I also have no idea how that happened.
Okay, so
we're about 12 most of the time.
So what we're going to do is we're going to be diving into our personal lives. As you see, we are going to be talking about like our star signs, and we're putting that up front so everybody knows, those that follow along in astrology. Erica is an actual real astrologer that gives readings all the time. And she's also a tarot reader. Yes. And she does big corporate events and parties and individuals and over the phone, in person. She's really fun. She dresses up. Everything, you do is really cool. And then I myself was a life coach for about 25 years. And now I'm just segueing into the television world, into the, media world. I kind of let it slip, did I? When I say television, what I mean is that, yes, there's been a lot of talk of having our own show. So we have been working in that field, trying to make that happen. But this is going to be a more intimate talk, and we're going to be discussing things randomly. So there's no rhyme or reason. I'm going to be asking questions. So today's question that I'm going to be asking you, first of all, we're going to get to know you.
I'm scared.
So a lot of people have been talking with you.
I'm fidgeting with all my...
a lot of people talk to you all the time. They get to know who you are on the show.
They do, yeah.
And so...
the voice behind the lens.
That's right. So now they're really going to get to see you up front and center.
Yeah.
You never know how to use your mic.
No. Is it okay right now? Am I using it incorrectly?
It's like 10 inches away from your face to the side.
I just like to believe that my voice carries across all time, space, and dimensions.
Well, you're going to get to know us personally on a more intimate level, because for us to describe and talk about our own personal experiences, you're going to have to understand a little bit more about who we are. Also, I am a intuitive empath. I mentioned that, but I'm also a mother of 5 children, youngest 18, oldest 32.
Yes.
I think. Okay.
No, isn't he 33?
Is he?
I think so.
Oh my gosh.
I think he's
my
33.
son. I am going to text my daughter to get the cat who is
Poof is being bad.
The cat.
As per usual.
Now. So you will see this show is very authentic, and it's like that on purpose. We want to show you our real side because we are real people. And so just real quick, I'm going to go over. Okay, so I'm a Taurus, double Leo. So I'm a Taurus, Leo moon, Leo rising, and you are?
I'm a Virgo sun, Cancer moon, and a Leo rising.
Okay. So now we're going to start diving in, people. Are you guys ready? Here we go.
Okay.
So, Erica, tell us your current relationship status. We'll start from there.
My current relationship status is single.
You're single?
Yes.
And how and why are you single? How did you choose to be single in this day and age? What was the choices behind it?
The choices
She's meowing, I think, in the garage or somewhere. Okay. We're doing our podcast in our house.
Yeah.
For those of you who are new. For those of you who have been following us for this whole year, you already know that. So, but go ahead.
Okay, so what was the question? The choices?
Why? What are your personal choices, your reasons why you choose to be single at this time?
Well, I don't know if it's not like a choice of like, I don't want to be in a relationship or partnership. Like, I'm not like, I'm single. No, not accepting any applications.
I see. So because there's all these different statuses and definitions of the statuses nowadays where everybody has
because people will do that. They'll say like I'm single like by choice, which means like I'm like not even considering being in a relationship right now. Like I am, there's all these different like levels. So I guess I would say like I'm single / dating. Dating. That's like
so single by choice. However,
but I'm openly, open. Yeah, I'm dating.
I'm openly dating.
So I'm open.
So now, do you say technically you're single, or you just say I'm openly dating?
I would not say like I'd say I'm single.
Okay,
but just because you asked me like what's my choice for that, which I didn't really know how to answer.
Well, I don't really know how to ask it.
I could make a joke and I'd be like the first thing I thought of saying was just because I haven't found someone who's appropriately obsessed with me yet to the level that would warrant being in a relationship with.
Well, you brought up something very interesting, and you're always bringing up this topic to me. It's very, very interesting. You get a lot of your clients are always asking you about relationship.
Yeah.
When is my person coming? And so you do your tarot spread or you do your astrology.
Yeah.
And so what is your overarching, like what's your takeaway from the experience that you have?
Yeah, I'm very cautious with that question in general because, and I know this for myself because I used to definitely be the kind of person that would like ask that question and be like, okay, when am I going to meet my person? But trajectories change. And there's a lot of things that are in flux. So much of it is based on your personal development and like, some people call it like timeline jumping. So like if you stay on one trajectory, you might meet this person, but if you do something else, you might meet another. So it's a hard question to answer.
Well, for those of you who are not sure what she's talking about, let me tell you,
we always have
no, it's okay. We have a varied audience. So some people are like really beginners, and then some people know exactly what you're talking about. So let me just give you some definitions. So let's say you're going about your life, doing your thing, right? And you don't make any changes. It's kind of all routine, pretty standard protocol. And you start dating and you're noticing that the people you're dating are kind of the same type, same everything. It's kind of repetitive, right? Which a lot of people complain about that.
Yeah.
So you can make a big life choice and make a big decision to change your trajectory is what she's talking about.
Yes.
So then you really do something different in your life.
Yes.
Like you'll make a decision. You'll come to a new conclusion. You'll have an epiphany. You have a conversation with somebody that changes your life and you just totally want to go in a different direction. And that's
happened to me. Like I've had readings myself where I was seeing someone and one reading was like, oh, this is totally, we see like everything happening and all these things.
Right.
But then I made a lot of internal shifts, like in my own growth and evolution, that didn't come true. But it was for the best.
Right.
Like, so I opened up a new life path.
So you could be starting in a relationship with someone, or you could be in a relationship with somebody, or even in the, like, let's say day one of dating somebody, and let's say you do your charts.
Yeah.
And you'll see the comparisons, and you'll see everything's perfect.
I have a lot to say about
You have a lot to say about that. I'm going to let you say it. Okay, so everything's perfect. You guys are compatible. Everything's a match.
Yeah.
But then as you're going along, you're starting to realize, like, I don't know, this doesn't feel exactly right. It's not a perfect fit. Something's off. I think I need to make some adjustments. So then let's say you make some life adjustments. Mm-hmm. Maybe you say something to him that you would have never thought to say to anybody before. Or maybe you decide that your dating style is going to change the way you normally date. Yeah. And so you do that. And then all of a sudden the guy is like, I'm out. So he's gone. He's like, this is not what I'm interested in. Yeah. And then you say, oh, wait, I was living my highest truth, which now that equals highest timeline. So that's where that timeline jump comes in, because now you just started a new trajectory. Right. So by you speaking up for yourself, or by you saying what you wanted to say for yourself, breaking from the past, breaking your patterns, all of a sudden now you just jumped into a new timeline. Yeah. And then you have now a new persona. So you're not going to have a frequency match. No. That other person is not going to match with you or vibe with you. So they're going to recognize it right away. And they're going to say, oh, I'm just not interested. Yeah. Yeah. And I know you have a lot of experience in this area. If you evolve very fast, it tends to happen to you quite often.
It's true. When you're doing a lot of self-growth and like work on yourself, you do tend to either you have a partner that's going to evolve with you together, or you can tend to go through a lot of different partners, or maybe have longer periods of time single, because you change a lot. So who you were,
and those are for the people who are actively wanting to change.
Yeah. Yeah. That's if you're really working on yourself.
Because there's some people who are like,
I'm good. Like, I don't
just going to do life. It's all good.
I don't need to make any adjustments.
Yeah. And it's fine. And by the way, more power to you if you are that person who everything's great and you're just going along and you like your dating style and you like the people you're attracting. This is awesome news for you. So enjoy.
By all means.
Yeah. Have one on us. Like, we're very proud of you. But most people, they don't realize that if they make a big life change, it automatically is going to affect the person that you're going to be attracted to, or that is going to be attracted to you. Yeah. And your dating pool is going to change. And you're like, it's so weird. These guys never used to hit on me before, or come on to me, or reach out to me, or whatever. That now they're doing that. And it used to be this pool, and this pool is like not, it's like crickets.
Yeah. Yeah. You've really noticed will. That. Yeah, that's definitely like who I would have dated 10 years ago is like no comparison. They wouldn't even be, 10 years is a long time, but no,
but like,
I mean, even let's just say even like probably 4 months ago.
Well, like, what about 2 years? In 2 years, you have changed.
2 years, I've changed
I would say
so
you've
much.
Cycled 4 different types of people. That's horrible.
That's really funny.
Did that sound weird?
No, it didn't. I think everyone now wants to know what those types were. And I would like to hear your assessment.
I just walked right into that. Okay, what I actually mean
say
is
what
like,
you will. I'm an open book. It's fine. I don't care.
Okay, let me break it down. So let's call it group number 1. So this is one group of men that you were interested in.
Test subject number 1. Just kidding.
Well, it actually is kind of.
I mean, kind of, but yeah.
Were you going to write a book like? What was it? It was a dating book based on
my failed experiments.
Failed experiments. That's correct. Okay, so group number 1. Yeah. So we have group 1. Now Erica is walking along and she's just like, "Hey, hi, group 1. I'm totally available to date." But in the middle of that, what no one realizes is you're going through great growth.
Oh my God.
Changes, massive life changes.
Like changing my core beliefs at the root, like deep.
Based on
trauma, healing,
childhood,
like
and what you want for your life and career and how you see yourself and self-image and self, analysis, basically, going through a self-realization process. So let's say group 1, you're dating, everything's great. And then all of a sudden you start to hit all this like friction and crazy, like sideways, strange interactions and conversations that is so foreign. You don't know what happened. All of a sudden it went from, they were a cozy group that you knew very well.
Yeah.
And now you don't recognize this group.
Totally. Yeah. And I would be interested in talking. Oh, sorry. I'd be interested in, I just apologized to my mic. I'm sorry, Mike. I would be interested in talking about a lot of new things and kind of exploring new arenas. And it just wasn't the same match anymore. And a lot
they would look at you like, huh?
Like, what are you talking about?
So then you would go, and I remember each time you were kind of, you were half mad because it was annoying that you'd have to start over.
Yeah.
And then there was another part of you that was kind of like, curious about what your next group would be like.
Yeah.
And then there was another part of you that was like,
my next group. It sounds like I've dated like so many.
I'm only taking a 2-year period, you guys.
It's not that many, but if we're talking groups, that sounds like it's like 100 people.
Let's clarify. Let us clarify. Okay, so she's not dated 100 people. Okay, I'm taking a period of like 2 years. The last 2 years, she's had a lot of transformational growth.
Yeah.
I've seen her go through pools.
Yeah.
When I say pools, I'm talking like
intimate
online dating or like people she's attracted to or they're attracted to you.
Yeah.
And I noticed that as you got to the end of like one pool, like one group of people that were all kind of similar.
Yeah.
They were starting to look at you sideways like they didn't understand like an alien is in their presence.
Yeah.
And you started getting uncomfortable. So I saw the stages that you went through. You would get uncomfortable. You would say things like, I don't know, it's not working anymore. Like, is it me? Like, did something happen? And then I would say to you, but these guys are like not interested in where you're going and what you're doing.
Right.
And that was kind of an eye opener for you.
It was a huge eye opener. Eye opener. Yeah. And it was like, even, I think a big part of it too, of a lot of my growth and transformation was also about letting more of my authentic self out. And like, where I was coming from was I was very much the type of person that tried to like fit in a box and be liked. And like,
do you think it has anything to do with your upbringing or where you're from?
100%.
Or
yeah.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I'm from a small town in Pennsylvania. I was raised Catholic. I was raised in a pretty conservative environment, and it was very just in some ways I was encouraged to kind of be myself, but then in other ways I was around a lot of social and cultural pressure to conform to very idealistic ways of being, looking, talking, acting, sitting, walking in and out of rooms. Like it was a lot. It was just a lot.
Like you said, sorry to your microphone.
Exactly. So that is a perfect example. But at the same time, like, so it's a part of me that I've been learning to let more of my authentic self out, and like even acknowledge that I apologize to my microphone and then pet it afterwards.
Which is actually a really good sign because she's getting over like, was it okay that I apologized? Then is she okay for correcting the apology?
Yeah.
And can she do that on camera? And there's a bunch of layers there, but that's what we're working through is all this like permissions to allow yourself to be.
Yeah, I had to give myself
that's a really big deal
of permission. And so a lot of times I would just attract frequency matches that were people who also didn't know how to give themselves permission to be themselves. Right. So we both were like playing characters. Right. Going out together and being like,
do you remember that phase where you were like in the middle of like identifying yourself and trying to figure out like what your type was or who you were, what your tastes were, your wants, your needs, and you were in the middle of sifting through all of that.
Yeah.
And then I remember there was a period of time, this like really awkward phase. Yeah. That you were attracting men that were exactly like you. And they were all like, have no idea what they were doing, why they were doing it, what's happening. And you would get really mad. And you're like, what is going on? And then we started really evaluating the frequency match. Yeah. And that's when you're like, oh, I need to be more certain of what I'm doing and be clear about myself so I can attract somebody who's clear about themselves.
Yeah. So much.
That's like a journey in and of itself. Now, in the middle of all this, you would just bring out your handy dandy astrology. Yes. And walk me through how that worked for you, because I know so many of you guys use astrology to understand compatibility.
Yeah. I mean, it's
And is it true, before you start, and I'm going to let it rip, I'm going to let you let it rip, but I want to know, is it true that on one side it can kind of be dangerous?
Yes. Oh, yeah, totally.
Not dangerous like scary, but dangerous like it can throw off your natural organic flow and intuitive sense of growth So please, as an astrologer, talk about this.
Okay.
I don't think anybody has properly talked about this yet.
I don't think they have either.
Break it down.
Okay, so, it's super, super helpful. It is. And I recommend for everybody to like have that conversation where you learn about someone's astrology, and because it's all very real, astrological compatibility. And the more you know someone's birth chart, it's true, you really do get to see all the ways that you are going to interact. And there's a lot of content about like, okay, so say you're dating a woman with a, moon in Scorpio. What does that mean? How do you date them? Like, and that's all it is actually good information. It is. And it's valuable to know that. And I learned a lot from it. So like, I kind of know, this is on the positive side. Like, I kind of know if I'm dating someone and they have a particular moon sign or they have a rising, like if I kind of know their chart a bit, I know what type of person they are that might.
So let's give a couple examples.
Okay.
So let's say, do you want to do
throw one out.
Do you want to do like Cancer, Libra?
Sure. Yeah,
Sag, pick one.
Super easy. Okay, so let's just talk about Libra. If I'm
now, is this the placement sun, moon, or rising?
So let's do Libra sun.
Libra sun.
So if you're dating a Libra sun, 9 times out of 10, they really don't like confrontation. So if you're dating them, you would want to be more deliberate or a little careful about how you go into anything that's like, we need to talk. That would be very scary for a Libra to just like lead with that.
Right.
So you kind of have to be more gentle about how you approach conversations that might be, or topics of conversation that might feel like they're put on the spot or that can occur to be confrontational, because they hate that.
This is where you would say that astrology is helpful in the dating scene if you know ahead of time. And there are apps, by the way, you guys.
Oh my God, there's so many apps.
But there's apps, dating apps where astrology is the component. But you said that you weren't really super excited about those.
Because again, it's good to know these things, but what it can tend to do is, on the one side, you can know all this stuff, but then you can kind of get in your head a little bit of being like, oh my God, well, okay, so their sun sign is this and their moon sign is that, which means I have to be careful with them here. And then I'm going to try to over deliver in this quality. So let me ask you a question
as a Virgo. How is that for you?
It's very dangerous for a Virgo because we love to analyze.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I used to get in my head about this a lot and be like, oh my God, like he's a moon in Capricorn. Like what how do I, and it's just like, it's too much. Right. It's just too much.
I saw there was times where in the early days when you were really understanding yourself and dating and astrology, you would get a little overwhelmed because it was so much data.
It's a lot.
And then you start to be like, do I trust myself? Do I need to be going to my charts all the time? It's useful in the beginning, I guess, or useful for like some aspects of like, if you're confused, like, why is this person acting like this? Sometimes that's
where it has really helped me in dating and in all relationships, is when I look at their chart and I understand, I understand why they get withdrawn or why they get upset or triggered or excited about certain things that doesn't necessarily match like where I would come from.
Right.
And it's because, their Venus is in something or whatever it is with their chart. The problem that happens is, and especially with apps and even chart comparisons, is in all charts, you can see how it would really, really work. And you can also see how it would really not work.
Yeah, interesting, right?
Both exist. As in any organic relationship, there's things in all relationships. Take astrology out of the equation. There's going to be stuff where you guys really complement each other, and there's going to be stuff where you don't, where it might not work. So if you're coming in,
what's interesting? Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
So you have shown me in chart work that you can actually see if there was trauma in childhood, which is
totally
Tesla level insane.
Yeah.
To really understand that, that's like a whole class by itself. To understand that we as souls are here to learn life lessons, and we actually set up our chart, set up our personalities, our family units, and everything to be a certain way so that we can have certain life experiences and certain kind of education so we can grow. And so you have actually shown it to me. You're
Oh,
like,
for sure.
right here in this house, look right here. This is childhood trauma. So
Right.
if they have childhood trauma, it's not resolved by their 27th birthday.
You start really working on it.
Then you have
In
to
the Saturn
really work
return.
on it because
Yeah.
you have your Saturn return when you're 27 and everybody has usually a very big life change between 27 and
Definitely.
28
Yeah.
and a huge mindset change. And if there's a delay and you resist it and you don't allow it to happen, it will sneak up on you at least by 33.
Yeah.
Nobody really escapes it.
No.
Some people just do the 27 club and they just exit planet
Yeah.
Earth. But
Yeah.
most people, it's a huge Saturn return. It's a huge cycle that ends and a new one begins. And so that's when a big change happens
Huge.
in your life, right?
Yeah.
Then the next one happens when you're
Well, your Chiron return is in your 50s. That's why people call it like a midlife crisis.
Right.
It's actually a Chiron return, which is that directly works on the wounded child part.
So let's
the
talk about
most.
Chiron.
Yeah. But I feel like I didn't finish what I was saying.
Well,
I want
because
to.
you're talking to me and I just talk really fast.
Yeah, but I
So
wanted
I apologize.
to lock in to the part so
Okay,
people
go
know
ahead.
because I didn't finish like
Go ahead.
the. Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
But I know how much people
Yeah.
take astrology and
They
dating
do.
seriously. So I do want to establish this. So you can see in the chart, so much of it, you have to be very clear in yourself that you're coming from an educational place, not from I really hope this works out. So I'm going to look for a lot of evidence
Right.
to see how this will work out or how I can make it work out. That's where it gets dangerous because people try to like make a match happen when you don't really know the person. And there's everything in your chart. That's like the blueprint. It's not a user manual. It's just it's a description. So where someone is in terms of working on these things and being in the fullness of the expression of their potential of who they are it is so variable. You have no
So,
idea.
yeah.
And it will also tell you like, yes, there's the potential for how your relationship could be and how you could activate each other, but that doesn't mean that it's going to happen. And that's
Yeah.
really important because I've seen a lot of people read stuff on apps, and I used to do this too. And you're like, oh my God, we have this connection, this connection, this connection. We have a vortex. We have this. There's this. He's in my 7th house. I'm in his 7th house. Like, we're going to get married. And it's just, there's so many nuances
There's
to
so many
it.
nuances. Like, for instance, let's say the guy decides, or something happens. Let's say, God forbid, something happened, like a family member and his family get in a car accident or something while you guys are dating, and it changes him. His
Yeah.
whole entire
Everything could
framework
shift.
changes, his belief system, everything. It's just like crushes him, like he has to have a huge transformation, huge growth.
Right.
Then he all of a sudden is no longer, doesn't always happen, because sometimes you stay together. But
Yeah.
if it's,
Yeah.
if you're kind of not on the same page, coming from the same place, and you're wanting one thing and he's wanting
Right.
the other, and then you can't match up right there,
Right.
that's when you guys usually will part ways.
Yeah.
But you could always get back together again, again and again. You can
Yeah,
try.
and you don't know
if it
how
doesn't-
cycles
yeah.
go. It's really, there's a lot more mystery to it. So, and it's so deep and layered
Right.
that you can't just take things at face value.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's just so important. But I would say when you are in a committed relationship with someone, or you're at the point where it doesn't have to be committed, but like you're in an agreement that you are in a relationship. So you've gone deep with each other. Like now you're having those conversations about like, we're building something together. We may want to be committed. Like it's at a deeper level. What I do recommend, and this is where I do see it's really valuable, is that instead of do it together as a couple. So I would say focus less on
The astrology.
the astrology of trying to learn about your potential date or your potential person that you've just had a few
Can you
dates
believe
with.
an astrologer saying this?
I know, it's crazy. Like, look, you can use it. It comes in handy.
That says a lot, doesn't it?
It does come in handy to know, like,
I mean,
know.
it's true,
but
though.
really,
Yeah.
it will serve you best if you're in a place in your relationship with the person where you're sitting down together
Yeah.
and actually then looking.
And so what I was going to say, and I was going to ask your advice on this, but you just said it, actually. You answered my question, which is perfect, is at the end of the day, the takeaway is the interpersonal
yeah.
one-on-one, face-to-face interaction where you're feeling each other's energy and understanding and feeling that person's heart, and you're feeling your heart, being calm, peaceful, creating a safe place where the other person can be and relax. Whether that's a match for you or not a match for you, you know, you can take, my suggestion is you take a lot of the ideologies and ideals that you have for one another and like what that other person is supposed to do. The only thing you can do is be responsible for yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You can only be responsible for what you want to experience in your life and how to move forward. And, you know, in all my years of marriages, plural, I have come to the conclusion that it really is about your own self-awareness and peace within yourself, and really finding just how to be in the moment and breathe.
Yeah.
And be okay with whoever's in front of you and understand them as separate entities from you. Although we're in this all together, you get to kind of be a bystander to somebody else's life. You're just watching. A lot of us come into relationship and we want to control the outcome. We want to get what we want out of it, and we want to like force the outcome or the situation.
Yeah.
And we've all learned that.
Yeah.
The hard way, you know, and
Yeah.
it's painful. It's a painful process, but eventually you get to the point where you surrender. And you just realize this journey is just about you, and it's about what you experience for yourself and what you want to feel and in somebody else's presence. And if that person is not a match for you, you don't have to like freak out and make that person wrong and say a bunch of stuff. Now we're at a place where like, now our conversations are so different. It's very intellectual. Like when we talk about like a dating scenario, it's like if we were to, like, that would be so interesting. I wish we could do that one day. Like when you come home from a date and you have like a conversation, like, hey, talk to me about what happened tonight.
Yeah.
You tell me, sometimes you'll talk to me in a very, you're very clear and concise and to the point, and there's no drama, and you're very relaxed in how you talk about it. And it's very like, you're understanding the rules of the road and you're not upset about any of it. And it's so impressive to see that. To me, it's like, I feel like you're at a place, it's like, you're almost a graduate, and it's like you can actually help a lot of women and teach, or anyone, not just female, you know, but to teach people how to be peaceful and relaxed within the dating scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a big deal, because out here, it's, you know, people have said it's kind of scary out there.
It can be. Yeah.
But you found a way.
Yeah. I think I learned how to look at it as an opportunity really just to get to know someone, and to stop looking at it as what's the outcome of this going to be, and like not bring in my expectations and just be like, well, who is this person?
That's wonderful.
Like, tell me about yourself. Like,
you're so neutral.
Yeah. Cause I started to realize, I think it came a lot from doing astrology and tarot and like interacting with people so much.
Right.
I started to get really interested in people's stories.
Right.
And just who they were as people. And then I started to look at, you know, dating is just, I'm just getting to know who this is. This is someone with a whole life, a whole story, all these ideas, all this experience. They've lived an entire universe up until this point that I'm seeing them right now. And what a gift that I get to be here to have a moment inside of that, to connect with someone and like see a totally different perspective of life.
What is the pitfalls that comes with doing this like emotionally intelligent kind of labeling? We've talked about this, where now everybody has like identifications and categories. Yeah. And so they feel good about that, but then they walk into a dating scenario and they're like laying down all their cards. They're like, okay, so here's all my labels and here's all my categories, and this is where, which is fine. But then it starts to become about, it's like you're trading information. It's almost like an interview quiz.
It can be very interviewee.
It's like there's no chemistry compatibility conversations. There's no
like,
natural.
Do you check my boxes or not?
Yes,
like,
exactly. Yeah. And I appreciate that they're trying to get more emotional intelligence around dating.
Yeah.
Because as we advance, we're trying to become more evolved in this area.
Yeah.
But can you talk about the pitfall that you noticed about when there's too many labels and too many, or trying to organize? Like, this is who I am, and this is what I need, and this is my taste and my preference.
Yes.
And then you kind of force feed it to the other person.
Yeah, it's a little bit starts to feel like a presentation.
Right.
Of like, it's almost like I made a PowerPoint presentation on myself.
Right.
And then like let me hear your PowerPoint presentation. And what I notice a lot of people do, and I would catch myself doing this all the time too, is someone would say something about their life, like, you know, I do this or this, and I have that, and people will like project out into the future. Oh, well, that means they're not going to prioritize me, or like, you know, oh, they'll never have time on Tuesdays. Like it starts to feel so much like this is literally a job interview.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to see if this person just fits. Like, can I put you in a peg like a Lego?
And then imagine adding the astrology to it.
Yeah. And
so you'll go crazy.
You can go crazy.
Like you're like looking at blueprints on top of blueprints on top of blueprints.
No.
To try to do what? What's the point? The point is to protect yourself. So the point is not to waste time.
Usually it's because of that. I don't want to waste my time.
I don't want to waste my time.
I want to protect myself and I don't want to get hurt.
But is the person that is doing this, are they not seeing that they also are projecting their own persona and their own characteristics? And so
yeah,
they have to be aware of themselves. Like if they're coming across too regimented and too strict and with all these like rule books and stuff, I mean, that's like a turnoff. I mean, I don't understand how that could be like, how can you even give a place for any kind of to take place?
It's hard.
If everything is so overly analyzed and organized.
Structured. Yeah.
And like your astrology handbook is here and like,
yeah. And then everybody's like, there's so much stuff about like, if you know, if he doesn't do this by date 3, that means this.
I think we're hopefully in a tipping point where we're evolving out of that.
Yeah.
Because that came into, I think it was the 80s and 90s, we started doing that where it was like those books came out.
Yeah.
Where like how to attract a millionaire. And
now it's just on TikTok. It's like still the same dialogue.
But do you see the tipping point? It's starting to now wane where people are getting tired of this over-analyzation. And that's what we really wanted to talk about that today. Yeah. Because we discussed the exhaustion that people are having, the mental exhaustion. They're coming to you, they come to us, they come to us, and they come to you and they say, do my chart because I'm just like at my wit's end. Yeah. Some people honestly just have no clue where they're at and they just want to know just kind of a basic layout. Yeah. Which is fine. But I'm talking about the ones that are living, breathing day and night, but not in a healthy way. And you know that because you don't feel good. Yeah. So they come frustrated because why isn't this working? Yeah. How come this guy isn't responding? Or how come this woman is not doing what she's supposed to do? It's like, what about the intuitive side?
Right. And it's like they're bypassing their intuition entirely because it's become so structured and so like, I want to make sure that I do this right. That now I can't afford to make any mistakes. And I did a lot of work on myself with this, and I talked to a lot of the people that I do readings and stuff for. Right. And even my friends, because it's like the thing I try to focus on, and you've helped me with this too, is like I'd rather over communicate than not. And then in my mind, I'm trying to make sure that I follow all the instructions and the rules and the guidebooks and that I don't make any mistakes. Because that's what I catch is when you start going so deep in all this education stuff and all the videos and the TikToks and the astrologies and all that, you're trying so hard to do it right that you don't actually say how you really feel.
Or you're not in the moment, you're not experiencing the real life experience.
And then the other person doesn't get to meet the messy.
No, they're seeing like weird the curated, like, super like deer in the headlights, like trying to make sure the mental notes are taking off boxes. Yeah. And then you wonder like, why was there no connection? And then you see that same person on Instagram with a new date, right? And they're having a great time, and that person might be more free. Yeah. Not as intense about making sure they do it right. And like, this is all a part of the learning.
So much. Dating, It's such a learning process. And I just had a conversation with someone that's reminding me of this because they were very much in the position of like, I think both of us feel a certain way about each other, but I don't want anyone to get to me like that, or I don't want to be the first one to say it because what if, and all this stuff. And I'm like, but how long do you want to? Right.
So, my thoughts on getting hurt in relationships are.
I'd love to hear your thoughts
on that.
Yes.
So my thoughts are that you're guaranteed to get hurt. You can just plan on it. It's going to happen. That is life, and that is how it works. And you have to just, childbirth is painful. Like there's things you have to understand. There's just things you have to understand about living. You cannot be afraid to get hurt, and you cannot be afraid to feel pain. I think looking back at my experience, every time I threw a tantrum or got hurt and I made a big deal about it or got overly dramatic, I think I just didn't know that it was okay for me to go through the growing pains. And I was basically throwing a fit instead of just actually just taking a deep breath and just getting it and just go, oh, okay, wait, this makes sense. Let me look into the logic behind this. I understand this behavior. I understand my behavior. Maybe I'm doing something. I need to chill out. I need to do something different. So it's like learning how to relax into yourself.
Yeah.
And it's not about the other person.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You know what?
It's
that
not
reminded
about the
me.
other person. It is and it's not, right?
Yeah.
It's a fine dance.
There is something with astrology that has helped me tremendously. And that was not to look at the other person's chart at all, but to look much more deeply into my own.
Right.
And there's a lot of things. I need to do content on this because it's hard to find.
Give me an example of an area that has struck a
So
chord for you.
understanding my own Venus sign more deeply, what house it's in.
What was my Venus again?
You are a Venus in Taurus.
Taurus, that's right.
I don't remember your house right now.
Okay.
I can't remember off the top of my head. And I'm a Venus in Leo.
Okay.
In the first house, which means that I require a lot of attention.
There's always things we all require.
That's Venus and Leo.
I like the word require.
Yeah, no, it is. That's literally
to survive on the planet. I must
to
have
survive
this
on the
thing.
planet.
Yeah.
I like to give a lot of attention. So my love language is like making grand gestures and really letting people know how much I like them, what I feel like. I love to do big things, give great gifts, like just shine, because Leos are the sun, like shine that sun.
I like to do that too. Not always understood or received. And
Yeah,
so therefore
well,
I have learned.
This is where I had to understand, because you're a Leo rising
Right.
and a
So
Leo
the
moon.
Leo
So it's very
in me
similar.
wants to do that, yeah.
So I had to understand, like,
Right.
okay, you can do that, but don't expect necessarily people to bask in it.
Right. Or understand it.
Or
want
understand it.
Or get it.
And they may even like it, but they may not be able to necessarily like give you the acknowledgement that you are looking for.
I think it has a lot to do with the temperance and the tempo and the volume in which you're giving.
Yes.
So Leo, sun, you just want to bask, like throw the gold out there. It's just really big. And you don't care where it lands. You just like throw it out.
Right.
And hopefully they get it. So what I've had to learn is precision. So I've had to learn like, oh, how about I don't do it so big?
Yeah.
And how about I just do it more precise?
Right.
Because the feelings don't change. It's just how I am giving it is more articulate and more, I'm taking into consideration and paying more attention to the other person and how they can receive it. And guess what? They appreciate that because they can see that you're taking the time to understand.
Yeah.
Can you hear my stomach grumbling?
Yeah, I heard
It's
that.
really loud. I just realized I'm just like hungry right now. Yeah. But the other person, they appreciate being acknowledged, seen, and you modify your behavior. But it's a very fine line between modifying your behavior consciously, holistically, because you're balanced, versus trying to get the formula right.
Right. Again, so you got to use your
Huge
intuition.
difference.
So it's like sometimes I can sense, I'll be like, oh, I think maybe this person like needs a little break from me for a minute. And that's okay. Because the other part of me understanding, this is why you always bring it back to yourself, understanding my Venus in Leo is like, I also like to receive that myself. So I can't always expect everyone to
We've talked about
praise me constantly and tell me
to have nonstop.
I would love it.
Floods of love and attention.
But
that's Leo.
Worship me. Like that's it. That's all I'm looking for.
think I
Is
have,
just
like-
please openly worship me.
Do I have like 3 Leo?
You do. You have
placements?
like three.
So
I have 4. It's like
Yeah, so we like that's
We
why we
love
laugh
that.
about this topic
Like,
all the time because it's so ridiculous, you guys. It's so
Yeah.
ridiculous because it's like a never
it's a
ending.
little insane.
Yeah.
It's a little bit much.
We
but
just like and
so-
then I do know that I'm ruled by Aphrodite
yeah, because you're
in
Venus
my
with
Venus.
Taurus sun sign.
and Taurus is ruled
And
by
that's Venus.
Venus.
That's Aphrodite. That's all those
Aphrodite.
things. So,
So
like
I'm like double, triple.
and we love over here.
Love,
Like,
love,
we
love,
just wanna-
lady.
But yeah, so I started to
Right.
understand like I also should give a lot of that to myself
Yes.
and give myself a lot of attention.
That is what we're
and
talking about.
really the more that I source that, the less I'm looking for someone else to be like.
Do you remember it was bad news for you when you first heard about this, giving to yourself?
Oh, I was
this
like not
love?
interested.
I remember I used to tell her this back in the day, and she would look at me like this.
It
I
sounds
already
like
do that. And I'm like,
not fun.
but then now you're saying it all like, you guys
Yeah.
don't know how good it is. And so
Yeah,
that was a point where it switched
you're right.
for you, right?
It did. Yeah.
And I think I know when that happened. It happened when you started to realize that you were actually giving to yourself more yumminess and joy and goodies than anybody can give to you. And you started
100%.
feeling the benefits of it. And you were like, wait, I'm actually having a lot of fun just being me. And now it's getting really yummy for me. And then now you become more selective. So now that pool of guys, she's not even in pools of guys anymore. Now it's turned into selective, like, it's almost like you're navigating between groups and you're selecting what you want.
Totally.
To experience.
It became much more about who's like complimenting me. Like,
that's so funny. Red Eagle did a whole talk with me yesterday on complimenting.
No way.
I can't believe you just said that.
Oh my God.
How cute. Red Eagle is the spirit guide that channels through my husband, Riz.
But like, like who's like if someone's a good compliment to you, that means like they bring something that is uplifting, but is also like in harmony or alignment with like.
And that brings out your best qualities.
Yes. Yeah.
I love when that happens.
I started really paying attention to that more and being like, oh, well, are you bringing out my best qualities?
Because we do activate each other.
Totally.
And so there's this feeling of like, you get to see a version of yourself you've been wanting to see.
Yes, 100%.
Because that person feeds that part of you that
they spark that.
It sparked that, but that's because you're in alignment.
Yeah.
So when you're in alignment and your mind is in the same place, you're coming from the same place, there's no friction.
Right.
So then you just feel the flow, and that's when you feel that energy flow and excitement.
Absolutely. And you're coming at it not like, you have to spark me. I don't know how to do this myself.
Right.
You're coming at it of like, this is an opportunity. There's a playfulness to it. There's an openness to it.
Right.
And I think that's how it works.
That's such a good note to end on, actually, to honor, respect, acknowledge yourself enough that you can let yourself be playful in something that could be very uncomfortable, or you don't understand it, or it's the unknown, or it's scary because you've never seen this before, but you're allowing yourself to have a sense of humor about it, allowing yourself to play, because you're so much more relaxed now and like playful and like it's not even a thing. Yeah. Like take it or leave it. Like you just date because if you want, like, I love that. And it's really
fun now.
And now you're attracting people who are fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I understand totally. Yeah. So I'm so glad we had this talk. Yeah. You guys don't understand how much we can go into this even deeper, and there could be part 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is why we had to put this podcast on. This is just one tiny little area that we discuss and talk about. I hope this was helpful for you guys. And I would love to hear from you in the comments if you let us know what your experience is with astrology and dating and how it has affected you, and if this podcast made any sense to you, we'd love to hear more. And if you want to reach out to Erica and get a reading or talk to her, you want to give your location?
Yes, my location is starpathastrology.com.
Yes,
and I'm also on Instagram as it's Erica Merriweather, and the same thing on TikTok.
Right. So, okay, good. So Erica is going to be coming regularly, so we are going to be discussing a lot of topics. Please also list any topics that you'd love us to talk about, and we're just going to randomly talk about a lot of different things. So anyway, this was really great for our first podcast. Yay. Thank you guys. It was really wonderful hanging out. So we'll talk next time. Bye.